Hi, and welcome to Room of Rock with Ted and I. Now, this time in the Room of Rock, we're going to take a look at two budget amp simulation pedals. We've got an AC tone and we've got an American sound. Don't get too hung up on the brand names on either of these because they're available under a wide number of brand names and they all seem to be absolutely identical. I know Harley Benton do a range of them, and currently they're about £27 each, plus probably delivery on top of that. This one, the AC tone, is branded Joyo, and this one, the American sound, is as Muse, but I've seen them under various things. I mean, Joyo do one of these as well. So various of the sort of budget Chinese brands do them. So don't get hung up on the branding. I mean, the difference seemed to me is what colour they come in and the colour of the knobs. I mean, if it doesn't come out on camera, this is quite a nice gold metallic paint job on this one, and this one obviously is like a bluey colour with cream knobs. And that, to be fair, they're in metal cases, and they've got an air of quality about them. The knobs rotate very smoothly and nice. The only thing I noticed when I got them was the input jacks were a bit hard to get jacks in and out of, and the output jacks. But after having put jack socket plugs in and out of them a few times, they've freed up and they work fine now. They've got true bypass on them, so you don't lose any tone when you're bypassing them. Yeah, and they've got an indicator LED, which you'll see when we actually go to use them. What I'll do, I'll bring the camera in a bit closer. Oh, the only other thing I had, and these currently haven't got the back plates on them, the battery compartments, because both these will work off of a power adapter, little place there, or a 9-volt battery. And I wanted that because there is a brand, and I forget the name, but they don't take batteries. They're only work off of a power adapter. But they were no cheaper, and I thought I like the versatility of being able to use a battery. Plus, it's a way of eliminating any AC hum, the fact that you're using a battery, so that the power supply can't be generating that if you are struggling with any buzzing noise. The only thing I had with this was the battery was a really tight fit, and what it was, there's a little circuit board on the back of the switch, and the switch wasn't mounted 100% straight, so it's slightly at an angle, so it meant that the battery cavity was a little bit tight. So what I did was I just loosened that off with a spanner, straightened up the circuit board and the switch, and nipped it up, and it's fine now, so you can slide a battery in and out easily. But I think as it came, it would have been a case of, if you pushed a battery in there, you'd have really struggled to get it back out again. So consequently I didn't, till I'd seen if I could adjust that, which I could. So that was an easy fix, but it just goes down to final QC, which when you pay as little as you pay for these things, you're not expecting a great deal. You don't get a lot in the box, I'll be honest. I'll show you that in a minute when we move the camera in. But it's not about that really, it's about these. I paid, what happened, I had a birthday recently and I got a £25 Amazon gift voucher, and I wanted something that was a bit fun, so I trawled around Amazon and I came across this. This was £27, and it might have been £27.99, I can't remember now, but it was under £28. And we've got an Amazon Prime account, so that was delivered. So it cost me £3 on top of my gift voucher, and I got this, and it's superb value. It's fun to use, and because I enjoyed that one so much, I decided I fancied the AC tone, and I think I paid a bit more for this. I paid, I think, £34 for this one, but again, for what you get, I think that's excellent value for money. And I think, to be quite honest with you, at those prices, they're great thing to dabble your toe in the water, have a bit of fun with, and if it gets you playing because you're enjoying playing with it, you know, it's for the money, it's great. You know, it encourages you to pick up the guitar and have a play, and it's done it all for the sake of a low price on something that you will probably enjoy using anyway. The other thing with them is they've got emulated outputs. So the idea is you can plug these into an audio interface and use them to record. So you could plug them. They won't plug straight into your computer because there's no digital to analog conversion in them. But you could plug them into your audio interface, then into your computer, and then in theory get a simulated Fender sound or a simulated Vox sound. I've tried that, and what I think is, whilst they work and they do that, I don't think the speaker outputs of the simulation is very good. I think they sound a bit fizzy and a bit tinny. They work fine if you add into the signal chain through software what they call an impulse response. And if you don't know what an impulse response is, that's like a software simulated speaker. And you can obviously download some of those for free. But using these into an audio interface, then using an impulse response on them, then I do think you get a good sound. Now, I have seen people on here on YouTube that have used these and say they've recorded whole songs, tracks and that going straight from these into an audio interface, and they say they sound great. Now, maybe they've put a bit more effort in adjusting the tone controls than I did, but I think they work great when there's a speaker in line with them, like through an amplifier. But I think they're a little bit lacking in that myself. But I think with using, as I say, an impulse response, you can get an acceptable tone. Well, I've brought the camera in now a bit closer so you can get a better look at what you actually get in the box and the pedals themselves. As you can see, these are the two boxes, and they bear striking similarities, really, considering they're made slightly different coloration and that, but considering they're made by different manufacturers. But dump that over there. But what you get in the box is not a lot, nothing to get excited about. They come in a little bubble wrap bag. That's the little plastic battery compartment cover there, which I've left on. That just clips off, if you can see that. But I've not bothered putting that on at the moment for what I'm doing. You get obviously the pedal, which is the exciting bit, and then you get some instructions, which I'll be honest with you are tantamount to useless. One side's in Chinese, one side in English, but basically they just repeat what the knobs say on the front. There's nothing really on there that's doesn't give you any idea about settings to get different emulations of amplifier. That might have been helpful if there was some suggested settings or anything like that, which you often get with, say, the Boss pedals, but there isn't. It's down to you to suck it and see, but that's fine for the money. That's fine, don't have a problem with that at all. Dump that over there. Both the pedals follow the same format. You've got three knobs along the top, which are your bass, middle and treble. Along the bottom you've got level, voice and drive. The level is the output level, so the volume basically. The voice is meant to alter the amplifier it's emulating. As I say, on this one it'll be from AC 15 through to AC 30 top boost, and this one from tweed through to blackface, and then the drive is the amount of gain on the amplifier. You've got an input socket, an output socket and a 9-volt adapter socket. Then on the back, as I say, these ones take a battery if you want, which I think, to be honest, as the casings, if you know whatever brand they are, they seem to be the same size. It's not like the version that doesn't take a battery is a smaller casing. It's not a micro pedal or anything. So there you are. So that's basically what they are. Now if it hasn't come out, that's quite a nice metallic gold, and that one is a blue. And as I say, the cases are metal and they've got an air of quality about them, and the knobs, I'll put one down, but the knobs do rotate nicely, nice and smoothly. And the switch, you know, it seems to do what it, you know, it's not crackly or anything, and it seems to work as a switch is intended. So that's a bit of a close-up of the American sound. I shall pop that one down, and then there's a bit of a close-up of the AC tone. As I say, switch again, you know, very, very similar, and the knobs rotate nice and smoothly. Well, without further ado, we'll plug them in, get them set up, and you can hear what they sound like. Well, as we always say here in the Room of Rock, if you like what we do, please think about subscribing and maybe giving us a thumbs up. Means a lot to us. Means a lot to young Teddy Boy there, as you know, and it encourages us to make more content. Oh, and it's worth clicking the little notification bell when you do, because then you'll get notified when new content gets put online. Anyway, let's jump into the video. Well, I thought before we get started, I'd just give you a quick look at the setup so you know how we're doing the sound. I've got my ribbon microphone up there, which is purely picking up any voice, so anything I say, any comments I might make. I've got a Shure Beta 57 sitting in front of the Marshall, and that's on the edge of the speaker cone, so it's not too bright a sound, which is where I tend to normally mic stuff up. I normally, not that scientific, I normally just shoot for the fairly near the edge of the grill, the edge of the speaker cone. Then outputs from the microphone are going into my mixer, and they're using the microphone preamps off the mixer, and then the signal from that on the line out is going direct into the camera. The reason I do that, it's quite a simple setup, and it also means the signal path is fairly direct, so hopefully it gives a fairly true representation of actually the sound we're getting. So there's no effects. Any reverb you hear is the built-in reverb on the amplifier on the clean channel we're using. The guitar I'm going to use is this one, which is my Squier Stratocaster. It's fitted with Seymour Duncan pickups, just so you know, but I thought, given the fact that both the AC30 and the Fender amplifiers are renowned for their clean sounds, I thought I'd go for something with single coils on it to try and bring that out, because when I bought these, my intention was to give more character to sort of clean and edge of clean sounds rather than their overdrive sounds. So that's the reason I bought them. Anyway, we'll get into it and you can hear what they sound like. Well, I appear to have cut my head off there, but I don't think that's too important in this. So I'm using the neck pickup at the moment, and this is the clean sound straight off of the Marshall. We're now engaged the American sound. And a clean sound off the AC tone. The clean sound has got more of an edge to it. Not adjusted the pickups at all. So I'll just give you a quick shot of the Marshall tone again so you can hear. Then American sound. AC tone. Now, as I showed you earlier, the controls, you've got your bass, middle and treble on them both. You've got then a level control, a voice control in the middle, and then you've got like an output control. Really, once you've got your bass, treble and middle as you kind of want them, mixing your drive and your level starts, you know, you can start altering the sound. Now, it seems to me you get more of a clean sound with the voice control more off or low, so over that way. I mean, I'm looking at this upside down, so it's a little bit tricky. So I've got these set, both of them fairly low, so if I move those up a little bit, I think we'll hear them starting to again, clean sound. Now, hopefully you can hear in the sound there's a slight edge of breakup. If I put that on the bridge pickup, you'll hear that even more. Again, clean sound. And then I'll do the same on the AC tone, so I'll turn up the drive a bit and engage that one. Now I think you'll instantly hear that, might turn the drive down just a whisker, that this would be more of a yes, it's, you can hear there's a crunch. And now I'll flip that onto the bridge pickup. Now I'll put the drive up a little bit more. So, tell you what, we'll stick with the AC tone. Let's just see. So. you can hear there's do the same with the American sound. I shall turn the drive up there. I need to turn that back a bit. So that's on the bridge pickup. I'll go on to the neck. So you can hear now there's an edge to the sound. It's starting to break up, and then onto the bridge pickup, and but I think you'll agree it's on the edge of breakup. It's not, you know, it's still, you're still hearing the character of the guitar and the pickup settings, whereas, you know, with that really heavily overdriven sound, it all becomes a bit arbitrary, what, in my opinion, what guitar and what pickups you're using, because it just becomes a heavily distorted sound. Now if I roll the volume back on the guitar a bit, you can hear that's responded quite nicely and cleaned up. So then up. And that is with the American sound, which is the less driven of the pedals. So do something similar with the AC tone, neck pickup. Roll the volume back. Then up. Onto the bridge pickup. To the American sound, and we'll turn the drive up. Let's see what we've got now on the neck pickup. The AC tone, and I'll turn the drive up a bit more. So neck pickup. Now you can hear that's getting more crunchy. Here there is still the character of the single coil pickups coming through. It's not masked, so that's neck. Bridge. push it a bit more. So stay with the AC tone. So drive's going up. I've just got to be careful with that. I'm turning the voice up. Now that's on the bridge pickup. Go up onto the neck pickup. Just to remind you, let's flip it back onto the Marshall's clean sound. So that's where we are. To the bridge pickup. And I think, you know, personally that's still retaining the guitar's tone, it's not masking it. Do the same with the American sound, so I'll turn the drive up, turn the voice up and back the level off a bit, so neck pickup. So you can hear the breakup, and it's definitely a different breakup. It's less raspy. I think it's smoother than the AC tone is. So I'm on the neck pickup. Now, whether you think it sounds like a particular Fender amplifier or not, I think it's certainly a nice tone and a very usable tone. Then on to the bridge pickup. Push it a bit more. Turn that down. So, clips it onto the neck pickup. And there's definitely more drive happening there. Bridge pickup. We'll start getting, you know, into quite a driven, not heavily distorted, but a driven lead sound. But then roll the volume back a bit and she cleans up quite nicely. and do the same with the AC tone. We'll push that on a bit and keep a check on the level. So start off on the neck pickup. Might be getting a bit noisy now, but I've got single coils and I'm standing right on top of the amplifier. But to be honest, that's in a hum cancelling position on the Strat. You can hear the difference. So it's not necessarily the devices, it's the fact I'm standing on top of the amplifier, which I wouldn't normally be doing, but I just wanted to try and get a sensible view for you guys to be able to see what's going on. Now, we'll flip the AC tone onto the bridge pickup. Now, as you can hear, that's quite distorted. To get anything like that distortion out of an AC30, you'd need ear defenders on, because, you know, on a non-master volume traditional one, because I had one of the reissue ones, and it was a great amp. Really heavy, noisy, very hissy I found, and everyone said, oh, Voxes are like that, or the AC30s like that. And to get it to distort, if you were just doing it on volume on the amp without putting anything in front of it, you would be really pushing it. It was, you know, it might only be a 30-watt amplifier, but that's kicking out a lot of power. You know, that would keep up with a drum kit in a gig. You wouldn't need to worry about that. So it's, you know, that certainly wouldn't be doable for bedroom recording or something. You know, the only time you might be able to do that is, you know, band practice in a rehearsal room or some gigs. But then even some gigs, they might be objecting to the sound levels. But so go back to the American sound, and we'll turn the drive up a bit more. But I think you can see, because whilst you can't see the controls exactly, you can see the indicators. You can see that the AC tone is more driven. It's not a heavy sound particularly, but it's a more driven sound. So that does kind of simulate the amplifiers, where a Fender amplifier have got a lot of clean headroom. They're kind of renowned for it. It's only in later years where they've, you know, chased the distorted sounds of the times, where they've, you know, become more high gain. But the traditional Fender amplifiers, the Tweeds, the Black Faces and that, are renowned for good, you know, clean headroom. So this is keeping cleaner longer. It's not as heavily distorted. So neck pickup. And again, that's, you know, I think you can hear the tone of the guitar through all that. Flip it on to the bridge pickup. push the AC tone a bit more, so I'm going to turn the drive up, the voice up, and I'll back the level back a bit. Neck pickup. And all this is done without having messed with the tone controls really. I sort of set them roughly where I wanted them, and I've just kind of left that. So, you know, you've got variations there you can add. Then on to the neck pickup. And just to recap, clean sound. Push this a bit more. But as you can see, you know, like for like, and these are pretty well similar, I'm having to run a little bit more level on this one, and it isn't quite as driven. So neck pickup. Lead pickup or bridge pickup. And I'll just roll the volume back a bit. So by controlling the volume, you can go from, you know, a crunchy rhythm sound, a cleanish rhythm sound, up to a lead sound. And do the same with the AC tone, push it a bit more. So onto the neck pickup. Then onto the bridge pickup. So you go all the way from quite a driven sound, I wouldn't say heavily distorted or a heavy rock sound more than a heavy metal sound, all the way to a fairly clean sound. So what I've done now, I've gone full circle and I've gone back to some clean tones just so you can hear those again. So this is the American sound on the neck pickup. I should do the same with the AC tone. Now this should be on a fairly clean setting. Well, I hope that proved both interesting, informative and useful for you. And mainly we hope you enjoyed it. So if you are thinking of trying to expand your tonal palette, maybe something like the AC tone or the American sound could be the answer. I think at the price they are, they're a bargain really for the fun you can have with them. I don't know about longevity, but I've got no reason to suspect they're going to die, overly early. So, my advice would be get one and have a bit of fun. Anyway, we'll see you again soon in the Room of Rock with Ted and I.